You are now in part 3 of our Excel UserForm automation series. If you missed the earlier parts, you will want to start from part 1. You will find it linked below. In this final part, we're going to connect the form to our data sheet, handle errors, and make sure everything runs smoothly. Let's wrap this up and get your automation live. Now let's code the submit button. Very excited for that. We are inside the submit button, but you can also just enter it here and double click here. We're going to start by dim our variables, dim ws as worksheet, set ws equal this workbook.sheets, timesheet data, dim last row as long. Then we're gonna have two type of selections. We will later on code when you double click here. When you have some items here and you double tap on them, the information should go back to the form here and you can check out. That's how the logic works. But we haven't any items here yet, so we can't double tap on any of these items. And we haven't coded the double click on items. So one step at a time, we have two sort of submit functionality. Either it's a new entry, just like this, development, and write some notes here, and you submit, and the data goes into it, or you have already double tapped here and information goes back and you need to check out. I hope that logic makes sense to you. Otherwise, you will learn later on in the video what I meant by this. We're going to call that editing. We're going to start that if selected Excel row is bigger than 0, then that means it's something we edited. So we need to update the data sheet and not write a new row. So we're going to do that with ws cells selected Excel row, comma 4, the fourth column, dot value equal txt end time dot value. Then we're gonna have the fifth column and write the label LBL total hours dot caption. And then we're gonna have the seventh column in the selected Excel row as txt notes. In case we change the notes, txt notes dot value, and we're gonna do a timestamp in the 8th column. That's if we're gonna check out. So we're gonna do a else in case it's a new entry. We can just write here new, and we're gonna use the last row here and set that equal last row ws dot cells ws rows dot count, comma 1 dot end xlr dot row plus 1, because we want the new row to go one row below the last row. Then we're gonna do a ws dot cells last row, comma 1 dot value equal cbo employee dot value, and basically write every step from the form. So let's copy paste this. That will make things easier. And write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We need to change this. For in the column 2, we're gonna set it to the txt date dot value. That's where we want to have the date. And then we want the next one in column 3 to be txt start time, and the next txt end time. And in the 5th column, we want the label LBL total hours, not dot value, but dot caption. We're gonna use the caption that we've set in the label. In the 6th column, we're gonna have the combo box for the project, so CPU project, and then we're gonna have the text box txt notes and right now here, and that's a VBA variable that timestamp time and the date. We want that in the 8th column, and then we're gonna do a end if, an end or if statement here. Then we have 2 more steps. We have the load list, so it updates the list form, and then call the clear form here. All right, then we need to code the logic. Double click on the list box on the items, so the data go back and you can end time and check out the working hours. The idea is when we double tap here, some of the elements should be uneditable. For example, the employee, the start time, the project. So you can only maybe write some notes and check out. The date should also be uneditable. That's the idea. Let's double click here and select the double click event here. Then we're gonna dim selected index as long. Selected index equal list entries dot list index. Selected index equal lst entries dot list index. If selected index equals -1, then exit sub. Basically, if there's no selection. And now we're gonna load data into form, and we're gonna do that with CBO employee dot value equal lst entries dot list and selected index, comma 0. And now we copy paste this down. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this one will be txt date. Then we have txt start time, txt end time, then we have the label, and that's not the value, that's a caption, LBL total hours dot caption. Then we have the CBO project, and finally the text box txt notes. Then we're gonna disable editing on key fields. Employees, CBO employees dot enable equal false, dot txt date dot enable equal false, and txt start time dot enable equal false, and dot CBO project dot enable equal false. These are the things we don't want the user to be able to edit. Then we're gonna dim WS as worksheet, and we're gonna set WS equal this workbook dot sheets and use our timesheet data. Then we're gonna dim I as long, and we're gonna dim match name as string and match date as string and match start as string. This section we're gonna match them up to see what item we click on in the list box matches the row, which row it should update, basically, which line it should check out if you check out. We're gonna set match name equal CPO employee, the value. We're gonna set match date equal txt date dot value. Then we're gonna set match start equal txt start time dot value. And then we're gonna do a for loop for I equal 2 to ws dot cells ws rows count first column dot end Excel up the row. So basically go to the last row. And then we're gonna do a if statement. If ws cells I dot 1 comma 1 dot value equal match name and format ws cells I comma 2 dot value comma dd slash slash year, basically the date stamp. If that's equal match date and format ws.cells I comma 3 dot value comma h colon equal match start, then we have found a match. And then selected Excel row equal 1 exit for and if so basically moving them in a little bit. And after the end if we have a next I. All right, before testing it, we need to correct this error. It's selected Excel row, and now you can see the system also recognize it. And we have our selected Excel rows here and a selected row index here. This is the importance of writing big letters so the system recognizes, and you can see when it doesn't recognize it. We go to the clear button. Actually, we go to the clear module here. Clear form. We don't want it to clear the date. This is very important when you create these forms and create systems in general, that you keep testing along the way. And now you can check in Alice. She's checked in 12:05. She's doing some admin work. Book rooms for admin meetings. Submit that. And then Bob checked in at the same time. He's doing some development, working on the new app. Submit that. And finally, Charlie checked in at the same time. He's doing some support, supporting new manager, and submit that. Now we can check them out and see how that goes. By the way, if you haven't done already, go follow me on Instagram and TikTok, because I post there every day, daily, multiple times. And that way you can engage with my content and actually have an impact on what type of tutorials I'm gonna make next. This tutorial came from people asking for a tutorial, so that's why I made this tutorial. So go follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I'll also go live there, and then you will be notified when there's new content for you. And please hit that like button and subscribe. I want to grow my channel and teach even more people how to automate processes and tasks in their job. This is what I'm very passionate about, and I want to help more. And the more people we can help, the more awareness is going to be spread into VBA and Excel, because VBA is a very underrated skill. Most people think it's outdated, but you can see how you can really create these systems from scratch that automate things and put things into streamlined systems. So please share my content, subscribe if you find my content valuable. And now let's do a little bit of testing. Let's expand these columns. I know a mistake we need to correct. When we double tap on any of these, we can not edit anything besides checking them out, end the time, and write a new note here. But we can actually also tap on this and it overwrites the old time stream. That's a mistake. We don't want it to be able to do that. But it's very easy to fix, so let's do that right now. We double click on this one, and then we simply write an if statement that's checking whether this box is enabled or not. If txt start time enabled equal false, then we don't want it to write this. So then we exit sub. That's it, because we don't want it to overwrite it with a new timestamp. You cannot timestamp back in time, or the system should not allow you to overwrite an old timestamp. The system should work like this. We click on Bob, we try, but nothing happens. But we can check him out. So now he's worked 2 hours and 47. This is not 2 hours and 47 minutes because it's in hundreds, 47 hours. And then we submit. All right, I found a small mistake here, but a very important one. Selected Excel row should not equal 1. It should of course equal I. So now it should all work. I have also updated the submit button so it works properly. We have it here, where we have our DM worksheet, and we set the worksheet to the timesheet data, and DM our last row as long, and then we are looking for whether it's row 2 in our selected Excel row, and if the selected Excel row is smaller or equal to our last row here. And then we're updating existing. If it's the existing, we're basically checking out and updating total hours. Otherwise, it's a new entry. And then we load the list, and then we call clear form. That's it. So now the final testing is here. So let's check out Alice, Bob, and Charlie. Let's start with Alice. And here you can see this button doesn't work because we cannot change the time. We have enabled it. But we can check out here, and then it's almost 3 hours of work. And then we submit. And here we have it with a new timestamp. Let's take Bob now. and we're checking him out as well. You see it's working. And none of this you can change. Let's just for fun change this. Support manager and CEO. Submit. And you can see it's updated with the new note. So this is how you make a employee timesheet tracker. Make sure to subscribe and follow along because more trainings will come, and let me know in the comment section what application you want to learn how to build next. And if you watched so far and you like this video, most likely you will also like this video where I'll show you step by step a full training how to automate your emails. Set up a whole email automation system that allow you to make email templates, search through contacts, and more. That will really take your VBA to the next level. And then I will see you in the next video.